Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews of books from the Overflow Room Annex. And we've got three really good books for you. As we do in all of these talks, I pick three, basically. I think that's how it's settled down. It's a biblical number. And we see what we've got, unless it's like a collection of books or something else, like volumes. But first, A Brahms Reader. Yeah! Edited by Michael Musgrave. Now, we live in a very, very good time for Brahms scholarship. I really think we do. I was guided in my Brahms peregrinations by my dear friend Styra Avens, Brahms scholar of extremely thorough character and dedication. She's a wonderful person and a very, very fine scholar. And, oh, this is beautiful. Brahms Reader. There's some very interesting essays in here. I mean, Brahms is one of those characters that when you have a composer who's so well known and so popular and gets so taken for granted, basically, we sometimes don't pay attention to all of the interesting things and opportunities for a second look. And, recent books have done that. So let's see what's in here. Brahms the Man. You ready? Physical appearance, temperament and personality, upbringing and education, the critical stages of Brahms' life and ambitions, professional outlook and relationships, Brahms' mode of life, Brahms and women. That's a big deal, because he hung out with hookers for most of his life. Brahms the composer, the young composer's outlook, the years of study, the mature compositional outlook, attitude to contemporaries. Brahms reflects on his achievement. Brahms the performer, Brahms the pianist, and Brahms the conductor. Then Brahms the music scholar and student of the arts. Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting. Reading and scholarship in Brahms' life, a student of history and the arts. The social Brahms, friendship and travel. Brahms in perspective, critical reception during Brahms' lifetime. Reverence and reaction in the 20th century. Very interesting topic. And toward a new evaluation of Brahms. So here it all is. I mean, really, really, really nifty, with a whole pile of fascinating insights and essays and topics. And it's actually better, I think, than buying a big biography to get this. Someone asked if there's a really good biography of Brahms, and they talked about Jan Swafford, which is good and interesting, but very inaccurate in terms of his description of Brahms' early life, supposedly, from what I was told by various people who supposedly knew. But this is a wonderful way to understand Brahms from a topical point of view. You can look at the bits that interest you, you can skip the bits that don't, and gradually fill in your portrait of Brahms the man and the composer in ways that really sort of are suited to where you are with your own listening and your own approach to the topic of musicians' biographies, which can be kind of like, endless and crazy. But wow, this is a nice book. Really, and you get a supporting cast of characters inside, which is really helpful. All the people around Brahms and his life and all that stuff. So yeah, good things. Good things. So there's Musgrave. Then we've got, what else have we got here? Oh, more Charles Rosen. I think I read everything Charles Rosen wrote or collected in book form. He's so interesting to read. He's so smart, and he knows he's smart, and he never tires of telling us how smart he is. But it's the real deal. It's not like he's telling us how smart he is and he isn't. I mean, he really is. This is a fun book, a short little book, Music and Sentiment, which asks the gnarly question, how does music express sentiment, feelings, and emotions? Some of you may have had Derek Cook's book, which does something similar, which tries to explain how music touches us and reaches us emotionally. And what, the Cook's was, I think, the language of music or something about how music being a language that has certain harmonic and whatnot procedures built into it that express certain things. Rosen does not go that way, not at all. But it's really fascinating. Let's see what he talks about here. Let's see if we have a little table of contents that I could take you through, because he's just a wonderful writer. Fixing the meaning of complex signs, pre-classical sentiment, contradictory sentiments, the C minor style. We know who that's about, don't we? Mr. Beethoven, da 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 da, right? Beethoven's expansion, romantic intensity, and obsessions. Interesting way of dealing with the topic, right? He's handling the different varieties of sentiment, and he talks about the music that expresses them. It's really, how long is this? It's not long. It's 135, 140. Yeah, I mean, not much. 146. A dense little tome, but well worth reading for its interesting ideas and challenging formulations. Charles Rosen, always wonderful. And then finally, David Beveridge, a wonderful collection of essays, Rethinking Dvorak, Views from 5 Centuries. I am always interested in Dvorak studies, not because I wrote a book on Dvorak and love Dvorak. Well, I mean, that's how I got into it originally, but because he's so taken for granted. He is so not treated seriously as an object of study. He really isn't. And I think that books like this are really, really important. So what have we got here? Here we go. You ready? Metamorphosis of Dvorak's image in the course of time by the great Dvorak biographer Jaromír Berghauser. Then we've got The Unknown Dvorak, a mini symposium on the early song cycle, The Cypresses. So you've got 4 different essays on cypresses. Then The Unknown Dvorak, the operas. Oh, they're so much fun. And there are a lot of them, and they're really, really, really cool. Dvorak's Vanda, which I love. Vanda and Armida, Dmitri, which is the sequel to Boris Godunov, in case you didn't know. I mean, Dvorak didn't know Boris Godunov, but the story is the sequel. Rusalka, and that's not really unknown now, but back in the day, when this was first published in 1996, it was a little bit less well-known than it is now, maybe. Dvorak as a Czech composer. Dvorak and the Meaning of Nationalism in Music by Leon Plantinga, who's a wonderful Yale scholar. He wrote a study of Beethoven's concertos that's terrific. The Dvorak Battles in Bohemia, Czech criticism. Oh, there's nothing like local parochialism. Dvorak in the view of the artist, portraits by his contemporaries. Then we've got Dvorak as a Slavic composer, a couple of those. Dvorak as a European composer, which is quite interesting. The impact of America on Dvorak and the impact of Dvorak on America. Really, really wonderful collection of essays. Again, somebody asked me what's the best biography of Dvorak, and I, mentioned at least one, I think. But again, these collections of essays, they aren't continuous, and they don't give you the, daily human side of him as much. But they're so much more interesting for me because you can dip into them as you choose, and just pick out the topics that tickle your fancy when your fancy is being tickled. So that's it. This little clump. Really, really good stuff. Some very, very interesting books with a lot of really superior scholarship going to work in the cause of great music. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.